Hey guys, it's Audrey. I hope you can hear me. I don't have my headphones today. Or I don't have my headphones right now. I'm still camping. I'm just taking a lot of vlogs because, well, it makes the most sense to do that right now. For this vlog, I thought I would go over overcoming loneliness when you have BPD. Loneliness is a very likely emotion to have when you have BPD. I mean, everyone gets lonely, but when you have BPD, it tends to happen a lot, especially after your fear of abandonment is triggered. So, like all of these vlogs, I can only talk from my own personal experience. I don't do any research for these, I just kind of wing it. Whereas my content on Instagram or Facebook is more so researched ahead of time, although it is peppered in with some personal lived experience and advice as well. But for this, it's just gonna be some personal advice. This is what I do when I get lonely. I like being alone, but sometimes I just miss feeling connected with someone. These two people are hugging right now, and that's so sweet to see. Imagine they're actually not hugging and they're actually like wrestling and chokeholding each other. Yeah, I can't tell what that was. Like a little kid with his mom, maybe, or two kids. I can't tell. Anyway, what I do with loneliness, though, when I do get lonely, is one thing I like to do, like if I'm at home, is I like to put the TV on and have it as background noise. That's one thing I do. Another thing is I usually will text like a friend, and I won't tell them I'm lonely. I won't like reach out for emotional support. I'll just say, hey, how's your day been? How's life been? If you don't have any friends, I would definitely work on making some friendships. One way I've met people is through Meetup. It's a great way to get involved with groups of people and socialize. I've also met people on Facebook groups, like local Facebook groups, and just go to events and, get out there and mingle and meet people. So yeah, I'll text a friend. I'll reach out to my father. I'll reach out to my little brother. I don't really talk to my older brother much because he's more of a hermit. Another thing I do is when I feel lonely, I like to kind of make my calendar. I'll schedule different things I'm going to do, like for the month, for like the next, for like the upcoming 4 weeks. And that just, I don't know, it makes me feel like I have like control over my loneliness. Like it's not something that happens to me. It's just, it's an emotion, but it's something that I can overcome. And then having like a calendar full of things that I know I'm going to do kind of decreases that loneliness that I feel in the moment a bit, because it gives me something to look forward to. What else do I do? The sunset is so pretty. And the aftermath of the sunset. The sun is already set. We got here in time, though. I like to listen to podcasts a lot, too. That kind of goes with the TV in the background. I like to listen to Joyce Meyer. She's a Christian, minister. I don't think she's affiliated with any church, or she probably is, but her ministry isn't really affiliated with any denomination. She's just Christian. If you're not religious, then I'm sure you can find a different kind of podcast or something that you like over a topic that you like. I know there are some BPD recovery podcasts. I think I've seen 2 or 3 big ones that looked really interesting. I actually am looking to start a podcast one day. It's on like my long-term goal list for BPD Beautiful. Let's see, what else do I do? I'll go for a drive, honestly, like if I feel like cooped up. Usually that kind of goes hand in hand with loneliness. I'll go for a drive. That helps. Other times I'll just put on a movie. Like if I'm like, it's kind of like an oxymoron, but sometimes I have stages where like I feel lonely, but I don't want to go anywhere, and I don't even want to communicate with people. So it's like an oxymoron. When that happens, I usually just put on the TV, cuddle up with a blanket, put on like the most comfortable pajamas that I own, and just relax and kind of chill out with my lonely self. Let's see, what else? Another thing that I've had to do, and this might not pertain to your situation, but I've had to remind myself why my relationship ended and why it was actually more lonely to be in the relationship than it has been on my own. So if you're going through a breakup, especially with someone who, any kind of abusive person, that's helped me. It's just remembering like, oh, you know, like, all right, so like for instance, I'm camping right now. Last night I felt a little sad. It quickly went away because I just remembered. I was like, well, if he were here, because this is something I always wanted to do with him, and we always used to talk about doing. But I was like, you know, if he were here, we would be fighting about this. If that had happened, we would have been fighting about, it would have just been more inconvenient and it wouldn't have been enjoyable. You know, but if I felt lonely, like for a minute or a few minutes or just even at night, like when I'm at home, I would just think like, well, if I do this with a person, like, okay, it's enjoyable to be with people, but at the same time, and two of these can be true at the same time, it's harder to do things with other people. Sometimes it's just easier to do things on your own. Like, I've gone to like festivals with like groups of friends, right? And we spend the whole time walking, looking for like the right food vendors. And it takes like 30 minutes for everyone to come up with a decision that will be, everyone will be happy with. To the end of like, all right, 30 minutes of us talking about it, I'm getting hungrier. I'm sure everyone else is too. And it turns out we can just stop at different vendors, but then we have to stop and wait for everyone to get their food. Now, going to a festival alone might not be as fun. I don't know. I actually haven't done that yet, but like, it's also mildly inconveniencing when you do things with other people. Even like making plans with one of my friends one-on-one, we have to figure out what kind of restaurant both of us will be happy with. We have to how are we getting there? Are we meeting? Are we carpooling? There's just more planning and logistics involved. So when I feel lonely, sometimes I run those through my head. It's like, okay, well, it's actually quite nice to be on your own because things are just easier. All you have to do is please yourself and do what you want to do. You can decide. Like, no joke, the first weekend after I kicked Brian out, I went to the grocery store and I kind of stopped, and I was a little sad that week. Like, how could I not be? Like, I was sad, but like as soon as I went in there, I stopped and I was like, I can buy whatever I want. So yeah, that's one thing I do when I get lonely, is I think about like, it's actually harder to be around other people. Another thing I like to do is when I feel lonely, but I don't really feel like hanging out with anyone, I'll go out. I'll walk like a downtown area near me that's busy, that's like full of life, but I can just walk alone and go get myself some lunch or go get an Italian ice or an ice cream. Oh, and lastly, if you don't have an emotional support animal and you're able to get one, you should definitely get one if you like animals, because animals are amazing at helping with loneliness. I don't know what I would do without Autumn or Nova. It's getting dark now, so I think I'll head up. Have a great night, guys.